Wonder weapons have always been an integral part of zombies. They can make or break a map. In some cases, they can actually become the only redeeming quality of a map. And in some other cases, they can break an already broken map along with your will to live. A good wonder weapon has certain qualities. The most important one is that it obviously has to be powerful. There is no point in calling it a wonder weapon if it's not gonna do shit. Think of some of the most iconic wonder weapons in zombies: the thunder gun, the apothecant servant, the lightning bow, etc. They all pack a certain punch. They can dish out ridiculous amounts of damage. Another characteristic of a good wonder weapon is that they make your life easier. What I mean by that is, they make a significant difference in helping you deal with the biggest threat in their respective maps. For example, in Revelations and Black Ops 3, you have to deal with a lot of boss zombies. You have the Panzer and the Margwa. The wonder weapon that you have is the Thunder Gun. You also have the Apothecant Servant, but for now let's just focus on the Thunder Gun. The Thunder Gun makes killing those big heavy enemy types so much easier. Or you can look at Origins. Fighting the Panzer Soldat with just regular guns can be a bit of a nightmare in that map, but as soon as you get one of the staffs, the Panzer is not much of a problem anymore. So to summarize it the best, a good wonder weapon is a solution to a problem that the map presents. If the jet gun allowed you to hover over the lava and not take any fire damage, it would be a much better wonder weapon, but it's not considered one because it doesn't solve any of your problems in that map. In Firebase Z, we have the RAI K-84. This wonder weapon is basically an assault rifle version of the ray gun. It's actually made from scraps of the ray gun Mark III in Gorod Krovi, and much like the ray gun Mark III, it's an interesting wonder weapon that has multiple dimensions. It has 3 different functionalities. It can shoot like a regular automatic assault rifle. It has an underbarrel grenade launcher that shoots this orb that slows down and damages the zombies, but the most important aspect of this wonder weapon is its 3rd functionality. When you shoot the orb, it's gonna linger for a little bit, and if you switch to full auto and then shoot the orb with your ballistic bullets, it's gonna explode and it's gonna do tons of damage. And when you think about it, the way this wonder weapon functions is very similar to the ray gun Mark III, which I'm 90% sure is by design. With the ray gun Mark III, you can shoot like a regular ray gun and you can shoot this vortex that slows down the enemies, or you can basically combine them by shooting the vortex with your ray gun, which creates this void that disintegrates the zombies. So they're very similar, and I know the ray gun Mark III wasn't exactly the best wonder weapon ever, but I thought it was a really interesting weapon because it required a little bit of skill to utilize properly. It wasn't something like the Apothecant Servant or the Thunder Gun, which are great wonder weapons, don't get me wrong, but they were very one-dimensional. With those weapons, all you have to do is just push a button anytime you're in trouble or anytime you want to kill a horde of zombies or take out a boss zombie. With the ray gun Mark III, even though it would start to lose its effectiveness in the late 30s, it was still a really fun wonder weapon. The RAI K is kind of on the same boat. It's a really fun wonder weapon, and it takes a little bit of time to master the whole switching between full auto and the grenade launcher. So it's not something that's gonna make you feel so safe that you feel invincible. You're still gonna have to work, and you can't really rely on this weapon to get you out of every single sticky situation. It's not a panic weapon. You can't just shoot it at the ground and instantly feel safe. You're still gonna have to be careful. In Firebase Z, you have to deal with a lot of different enemy types. You have the mimics, the manglers, the heavy zombies, and the hellhounds. Now, earlier we talked about how a good wonder weapon is a solution to a problem in the map. In this map, the problem are the mimics. They have such an overwhelming presence in the map that they become the main obstacle for the player. They're fast, they do lots of damage, they have a lot of health, they can grab you and pull you, and they spawn in frequently. Their spawn rates have actually been nerfed, which makes this map so much more enjoyable, because at launch their spawn rates were too crazy. They were always spawning in, they were in your face all the time, and it was just too much. And even though their spawn rates have been nerfed, they're still very much present in the map, and you're gonna have to constantly deal with them. If you play this map without the RAI K, chances are you're not gonna have a good time. The mimics are too much of a nightmare to deal with. If you have an assault rifle or an LMG, you're gonna have a bad that time. Because the way these enemies are designed, it seems like the only thing that can stop them from being a headache is the R.A.I K. The shotguns also do really well. The shotguns in this game are just really good in general, but if you have any other weapon, this map might drive you insane a little bit. With the new update, the ammo mods also do well against the mimics and bosses in general, but the R.A.I K still remains the main solution to the problem that is mimics. I remember I played this map at launch and I hated it because I didn't know how to get the R.A.I K and I had to use other weapons to kill the mimics and the manglers, and it was just exhausting because the whole time there was this never-ending wave of mimics spawning in and I couldn't kill them fast enough, so they would keep spawning in and I just couldn't keep up. And once I figured out how to get the R.A.I K, the map suddenly became very fun to play. It seems like the gameplay loop of this map revolves so much around the R.A.I K, and the people at Treyarch probably realize that, and that's why this wonder weapon is so accessible. There are so many different ways you can get it, which is not something we're used to in zombies. You can get it out of the mystery box, you can get it by doing the challenges, you can build it yourself, or you can get it through the crate Easter egg. So there are multiple ways you can obtain this wonder weapon, but personally I would recommend the trials. With those challenges, if you do them early on in the game, you can get the R.A.I K as early as round 5 if you're lucky. And even if you're not, you'll still get something from the trials, which is good. The R.A.I K does really decent damage. The non-pack-a-punched version does 700 damage per shot. The headshots have a damage multiplier of 5, so the non-pack-a-punched version does 3500 damage to the head, which is a lot. The Vortex Explosion does 5,000 damage. Interestingly enough, you can actually shoot the Vortex Grenade at a zombie's head, and it'll count as a headshot with a damage multiplier of 5, which is going to equal 1,500 damage for the non-pack-a-punched version. Against the armored zombies, it does 350 damage, which is 50% less than the base damage. The non-pack-a-punched version has 30 shots in the magazine and 270 in reserve. The Vortex Grenade takes 10 shots out of the magazine. To create the explosion, you need to shoot the orb 8 times. It used to be 10 shots at launch, but Treyarch changed it to 8 to make it a little easier to create the explosion. When you pack-a-punch the R.A.I K, it becomes the Discordian Disruptor. It has 50 shots in the magazine and 300 in reserve. Also, the color of the shots changed from purple to red. The damage output is doubled, so it does 1,400 base damage, 7,000 headshot damage, 600 vortex damage, 3,000 vortex headshot damage, 10,000 explosion damage, 560 damage against manglers, and 700 damage against armored zombies. When you pack-a-punch it twice, all the base values from the single pack-a-punched version are simply doubled. So the double pack-a-punched version does 2,800 base damage, 14,000 headshot damage, 1,200 vortex damage, 6,000 vortex headshot damage, 20,000 explosion damage, 1,120 against manglers, and 1,400 against the armored zombies. When you pack-a-punch it 3 times, the base values from the single pack-a-punched version get tripled. So you get 4,200 base damage, 21,000 headshot damage, 1,800 vortex damage, 9,000 vortex headshot damage, 30,000 explosion damage, 1,680 damage against manglers, and 2,100 damage against armored zombies. Now that we know how much damage this weapon can do, let's talk about practicality. How does it perform in a regular game of zombies? Well, the good thing about this weapon is that if you're a casual player and you don't want to switch back and forth between full auto and the grenade launcher, you can just use it as a regular assault rifle, a very powerful assault rifle. So it can be used as a simple weapon, but if you really want to take advantage of it, if you want to go to high rounds with it, then you need to know how to create those explosions flawlessly. And one big problem this weapon has is that the animation of switching from the grenade launcher back to full auto is really slow, and it's really awkward and kind of finicky. I don't know if that's by design or it's gonna get fixed, but it feels clunky and stiff. And before, you could skip that awkward animation and make that switch a little faster and smoother by using the reload cancel method. So after you shot the vortex, you needed to press X or square, which is the reload button, and immediately press up on the D-pad. You had to do it really fast, and if you were successful, you could skip the switching animation, which made using this wonder weapon much more enjoyable. But sadly, they patched that, and that's no longer an option. They did make the animation of the switch a little faster, but it's still pretty bad. Another thing you'll notice about the R.A.I K is that when you shoot the vortex, it lingers for about 3 to 4 seconds. If you shoot the vortex with your full auto bullets a couple times, it's gonna stay around for longer, so you can kind of use that as a method of slowing down the first few enemies so that the rest of the zombies can also catch up, and then you can proceed to create the explosion so that way you kill more zombies per explosion, which is gonna make you more efficient in the long run. Because the R.A.I K is technically a ray gun itself, the original ray gun is missing in this map, and to be honest, I think it's okay. The R.A.I K is good enough to replace the ray gun in this map, so the absence of the original ray gun is justified. Overall, the RAI K-84 is not the best wonder weapon ever, but it's really good, and it's really fun to use. Whether you want to camp with it or train with it, it's a reliable wonder weapon that you can have a lot of fun with. I just wish the switching animation was much faster. That is gonna do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments section down below what you think of the RAI K-84. I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.